Let's play some DVDs. Load the second DVD. Oh, there's a lot of tracks. The screen goes black for a moment, then green winters appears on the screen. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-11-11. I'm not keeping track of these dates, by the way. Alright, as I said in my last recording, I've been having trouble finding hard facts on Fierschwinger, so I thought I'd open things up a bit. Let's see what the rumor mill has to say. The screen jumps and Winters reappears in a different location. He is now clutching a mug of soy calf in both hands, and there are bags under his eyes. Well, that was enlightening, assuming that any of it was true, that is. So for the past 5 hours, I've been poking around some of the crazier things, crazier fringe theories related to dragons and the socks. As a reminder, the socks is an irradiated wasteland between France and Germany. It got zoned off back in 08 after the Cattenom Gao reactor meltdown. Anyway, there are all kinds of rumors floating around about the place. I've heard stories about a walled city in there that operates on a survival of the fittest, kill or be killed basis. Sort of like a nightmare inversion of Berlin. All of the anarchy but none of the stability that the F-state provides. The radiation poisoning, cancer and mana pollution are just the icing on the cake. So when Adrian helped the Luftwaffe shoot Fierschwinger down, she crashed into the socks. That much is well known. What isn't as well known are all the modern day myths that have arisen about her since, and tonight I've heard an earful. I chatted up a girl who claimed to be a ghost rat, and that's a smuggler that operates in the socks. She told me about a dragon cult called the Disciples of the Cleansing Fire. Apparently these cultists worship some sort of radioactive ghost dragon. Could be a Fierschwinger or it could be nothing, but it's worth digging into all the same. Another thing that my little ghost rat told me, the popular rumor in the socks is that Fierschwinger's astral form was, I guess you could say, mutated by all of that background radiation. Some of the glowpunks out there say that she's shed her body like an old coat. Others say that she's trapped, doomed to languish as an intangible radioactive ghost. I don't know how much credence to give any of this. After all, I don't have any proof that my ghost rat is even a ghost rat. She might be, but then she could also be a run-of-the-mill glowpunk. Or maybe she's just yanking my chain and she's never been into the socks at all, who knows. Well, it's food for thought anyway. I don't know whether the thought of some radioactive ghost dragon thing is any scarier than a genuine dragon is, but it's interesting all the same. Now the big question is, will any of this get me any closer to finding Adrian? I'm gonna go on a limb and say no, but you never can tell. Yeah, probably no. Probably no. I mean, it's just a ghost dragon, like how's that gonna help? Alright, timestamp 2054-11-12. We're going backwards. Alright, let's continue thinking outside the box. After the Dragonfall, the great dragon Kaltenstein came flying into the socks to rescue the Firewing. But he was driven off. Some say killed by Lofweir and Nibelheir. So what if there's another dragon involved in all this? Kaltenstein tried to save the Firewing, but Lofweir and Nibelheir stopped him. So the dragons are fighting against each other. Winters grabs a thick leather-bound tome from a shelf behind him, licks a finger and begins to leaf through it. Alright, so let's run down the list of major dragons that could be helping her. First is the Golden Worm Lofweir, the CEO of Seda Kroop, and quite possibly the single most dangerous being on Earth. Lofweir is a local boy, so he'd be in a position to help Fierschwinger. He certainly has the financial capability to help her. He could send a small army into the socks if he wanted to. So he's definitely got the means. But I can't see how he'd have the motive. He actively prevented the Firewing's rescue back in 2012 after all. Same thing is true for Nibelheir, so let's scratch both of them off the list. We've got Aiden, the Great Sarash. He's operating out of Turkey. By all accounts, he's not a fan of Lofweir, and they're actively competing for territory in the Middle East. So I suppose that could be considered motive. Reviving the Firewing might cause problems for the Golden Worm. But would he risk a war with Seder Krupp by straying into Lofweir's territory? Again, I don't think it's likely. He turns another page. There's Saladir out in Wales. He's pretty heavily invested in Transys neural net, so he's got the money, but he's too busy dealing with the BTL killer scandal that Transys is going through out in London to get his claws dirty in the socks. Dunkozan out in the UCAS. He pauses, shakes his head, and then slams the dome shut. No, this is a waste of time. The more I think about it, the more convinced I am. The Firewing is acting alone. Dragons don't cooperate unless they absolutely have to. After all, why bother making nice with your equals when you've got an entire planet full of pawns at your disposal? They don't need to work together, they have us to exploit. Alright. While this track does load, it's clearly corrupted. The screen fills with a meaningless stream of text. Is it really meaningless? One, two, three, JII. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6. It's not. 1, 2, 3, 6, 4. You see, it's not random, is it? Not completely. This file is partially garbled. You can recognize a few words here and there, but they're interspersed amidst a solid block of corrupted text. Vauclair. Still my big brother. Still searching for Firewing. Swear to... I will find you. If it's the last... I swear to new research. Turning up. Don't know. This file is corrupted. The screen fills with a meaningless assortment of ASCII characters. Again, it's not actually random. Is it the same thing as last time? The screen goes black, and the same digital chime that you heard on the Dragonfall DVD plays again. A crackle of static fills the air, followed by that same now familiar electronic whine. A few moments later, the display goes live. Adrian Vauclair. Vauclair looks haggard. His eyes are heavily bagged and bloodshot, and his hair is mush. He holds a cigarette in his unsteady hand. Hermie, it's me. I can't sleep. I don't know where you are. Out having fun, no doubt. Maybe flirting with one of those unattainable beauties that you are always chasing. He tries on a smile, but it quickly disappears. He takes a drag on his cigarette. That's good. I want you to live a pleasant, normal life. After all, one of us should. Vauclair rubs his eyes. I can still smell the smoke, Hermie. It's almost a year later, and I can still taste the stench of burning corpses. When I sleep, I can hear the sirens and the screams. There's no sound in this world as horrible as a burn victim's screams. The doctors would call this PTSD, I'm sure. They'd have me in therapy, maybe dose me up on SSRIs. That are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. It's an antidepressant, like they do to our veteran soldiers. He chuckles, then takes another drag. Quite a story for the tabloids, the great dragon slayer, Adrian Vauclair, mentally incapable of wrestling with his own demons. He shakes his head. No therapy for me, and certainly no medication. I have a reputation to live up to, however poorly deserved it is, and however little I want it. SSRIs is not. They're not that serious. It's actually quite tame. Like, it's not the kind of medication that really messes you up. Although, I mean, you shouldn't abuse it, of course, but... He pauses, stubs out his cigarette. The dragon is still alive, Hermie, of that I'm certain. One day I'll find her, and then perhaps I'll be able to sleep through the night. The display goes black, and the background whine fades away. A moment later you find yourself deposited back at the menu, alright. Uh, Nothing particularly useful there. Dietrich, you really came through for me, boss. You ever need anything from me, anything at all, then you can call on me. I'll come running. Uh, how's Alexander doing? Holding up. He's a good kid, that nephew of mine. Give him some time and he'll shake Styles' programming. It might take a while, but he'll adjust to life here in the Krauts Bazaar. In the meantime, I found a good home for him. Samuel's agreed to take him in. Alright. Is that wise? Samuel's employees have no love for humanness. Most of them don't even like humans. Best thing for the kid would be to learn through immersion. If he stays with Samuel's group, he'll have no choice but to interact with metahumans. Soon enough, he'll learn that they're no different than anyone else. We're just gonna chuck him into the deep end, huh? First few days will be rough, no question, but he'll make it through. And come out the other side a better man for it. Dietrich he's not playing around. Okay. I mean, I hope Samuel knows what he's doing. I hope you know what Samuel's doing. He seems like a tough kid. He's not a tough kid. He's not a tough kid. Time will tell, I suppose. You've done your part. It's on him now, one way or the other. He nods grimly. Yeah, that's right. It is. And when push comes to shove, he'll do the right thing. Just like he did with style. Now, on to other things. Remember what I was telling you back before we climbed into the van? Yeah, you were saying that the Dragon Slayer was happy and that you'd be given a reward. That's right. Thanks to our, let's not mince words, heroic actions in that swine pit. The Dragon Slayer has seen fit to grant me his favor, his grin widens, and now I know what that means, and what I can do with it. Well, don't keep me in suspense. He gestures at the ground near his feet. This. As you watch, the spot that Dietrich is pointing at begins to glow. Lines of force spread out in a scintillating web, and a feeling of raw power suffuses your body. I've just torn open a channel between myself and the Dragon Slayer. That power that you feel is his power, pouring through the aether and into that spot. If you're familiar with ley lines, it's the same basic concept. I consecrate a patch of ground, and as long as I stand in that spot, all of my magic gets stronger. Oh, that's what it means. He crosses his arms over his chest. Not bad, huh? What about another mage or shaman? Could someone else benefit from one of these channels too? He shrugs. Don't see why not. Like I said, it's basically a ley line. As long as you're on the Dragon Slayer's good side, I don't see why you couldn't use it. My idol, he isn't stingy with his gifts. Anyway, boss, I want to keep fiddling with this, learning to properly control it, and I'm sure that you've got things to do as well. You take care of whatever else that needs doing, and by our next run I'll be ready to use this. Alright, sounds good. So the ley line thing boosts magic. Fronting Baron in the shadows. Any thought about the last one that you'd like to share? Not right now, alright, he's got nothing. Alright, Iga. Iga the maladjusted military troll. Iga. What do you got this time, Iga? As you approach, Iga turns to face you. Her rifle has been field stripped and is lying in pieces on a sheet of butcher paper. Arranged in a neat row along the edge of the paper are bottles of copper solvent, bore cleaner, and lighter fluid. I mean, if you're busy, I can come back. Our fearless leader returns. What do you need? Any thoughts about that last run? Are we good? Aren't we good? I assume we're good. Any thoughts about that last run? Nothing we haven't already talked about, really? I haven't thought anyone good? Depends on what you mean when you say good. I won't question your competence again, not in front of the others at least. But I'm not gonna lie, I still have concerns about you. As you can see. What kind of concerns? Basic ones. I don't want to see history repeat itself. What history are you talking about? It's not Monica. She has a problem. Yeah, no, history... She has problems. What history are you talking about? I'd rather not go into it fearlessly though. Let's just say that I've had bad luck with unexperienced teammates and leave it at that. Iger, you know... Was Monica inexperienced? What I'm like... Sometimes, I mean, experience helps, but sometimes you just die. When you do dangerous things, sometimes, no matter how experienced you are, sometimes you just get shot and you die. I think Iger's like trying too hard to make sense of the losses that she has experienced. When the thing is, sometimes random shit just happens. I mean, I know that's kind of awful, but like, you know, trying to find reasons for a thing where there is no reason can get you in a lot of trouble. Like gambling is one of these things that I often cite as an example. Like when you play the roulette, you get into trouble when you try to find a pattern. When there is no pattern. The roulette, you know what the roulette is? Like there's the little ball and then there's the wheel and the ball kind of picks a number. It's a random number generator, right? If you look at the numbers and try to find a pattern and you think you see a pattern, there's no pattern, like you're lying to yourself. So trying to find a reason or a pattern in things that are completely out of your control and you're unable to predict, that gets you into more trouble than if you just accept it and just roll with it. Or was there something else that you want to talk about? Or so was there something else that you can talk about? Or can I get back to cleaning my rifle? I'd like to hear about your time in the KSK. She shakes her head. No, I'm not in the habit of sharing war stories, SCKZ. Not with people I've never served. Not with people who've never served. What, you think I wouldn't understand? I mean, it doesn't have to be a war story. I just want a better idea of who I'm running with. She looks at you in the eye for a moment, evaluating. Finally, she shrugs. Alright, SCKZ, you win. I mean, first of all, we're not competing. Like, I'm not trying to win, and you shouldn't be either. We're just talking. We're having a conversation. There's no winners or losers. Iger, are you okay? Like, are you okay? You're not okay, are you? You are not okay. I owe everything to my time in the KSK, from my street name on down. So you tell me what you want to know, and we'll see where this goes. Fucking Iger. Alright, tell me how you got your street name. Back when I was in basic training, a fellow recruit made a vulgar joke at my expense. She said that I reminded him of the north face of the Eiger. In the Bernese Alps, huge and beautiful but dangerous to climb. His tone left little doubt as to what sort of climbing he had in mind. Well, did you break? Did he try to climb you, and then did you break him when he tried to climb you? Back then, he was trying to I think that he was trying to proposition to me in his clumsy way, poking me in front of the other recruits to try to provoke a reaction. She shrugs. Anyway, he got one. I broke 3 of his ribs, and the name stuck. I mean... I mean, yes, but... Okay, so here again, I wouldn't say any of these things. Served him right. It didn't really serve him right. Right? Like making a little crude comment. Breaking 3 of his ribs is not the appropriate response. I mean, if you bruised him a little bit, that's kind of okay. Breaking his ribs maybe is a little bit too much, you know what I mean? Remind me not to proposition you. See, that's not in... I don't want to say that either, because I might proposition her at some point. I'm just saying, maybe I'm into it. Maybe I'm into broken ribs, you don't know. So you overreacted it then, as usual. See, again, I wouldn't say any of these things, right? I wouldn't say any of these things. So this is what I mean, is like... I mean, how would I answer? My answer first would be laughter. Cause I mean, you heard me laugh. I would say... that might be a little excessive, but I get it. Maybe you didn't have to break his ribs, maybe you just bruised him a little bit. But I get it. I would say that. So, yeah, you know, I mean... dialogue options, am I right? It didn't serve him right. No, she did. I'm gonna say this. Like, I don't want to put it on in this particular tone, but she did overreact. She shakes her head at you. That's about how I expected you to respond, but it's disappointing all the same. I didn't overreact fearlessly there. What I did was necessary. That's true, whether you can see it or not. No, it's not necessary. You hit him too hard. You didn't have to hit him that hard. You should have hit him, but not that hard. See, like these dialogue options, I don't see how. Then listen up, you might learn something. One way or another, I was getting saddled with the name Iger. As soon as that idiot made his little joke, it was a foregone conclusion. My only choice in the matter was whether it happened under his terms or under mine. If I hadn't broken that twit's ribs, the name Iger would have meant a difficult sexual conquest to a whole barracks full of recruits. And that's what I would have been to them from that point on. Thanks to what I did, my new name meant the troll who doesn't take shit from anyone instead. Yeah, no, you didn't have to break his ribs. You could have hurt him without breaking his ribs, Iger. See, like, I don't... Tell me, SDKZ, what would you rather be? Honestly, it wouldn't matter to me either way. Yeah, I don't care what people think about me. I mean, that's what honestly, who gives a shit? Then you're a fool. Out in the field, nothing will kill you faster than losing the respect of your team. I remember that if I were you. That's not how the military works. That's not how the military works. Nothing will get you killed faster than losing the respect of your team. No. I've said before how the military requires you to treat your team members as family, as brothers and sisters. Because the enemy is trying to kill you. You can't have the people fighting each other. Right? Because you need to work together to fight the enemy. Out in the field, nothing will kill you faster than not being able to trust the other members of your team. This is just completely wrong. Right. Right, you need to be able to trust them more than you trust yourself, even. And like, breaking each other's ribs is not how you get that trust. Like, this is completely wrong. She pauses for a moment before continuing. By the way, SDKC, I'm aware that it's more than a little ironic for me to be telling you this. After Monica's death, if you were the one who was dressing me down in front of Amso and the rest... Well, anyway, I don't want to dwell on it. I just want to say that I'm sorry for putting you in that position. What? Wait, in what position? She straightened, clears her throat. Anyway, you need anything else? Or can I get back to prepping for our next run? Wait, what did she say? That doesn't make any sense either. Anyway, tell me about your team. She nods. Fair enough. I guess that you've earned it. There were 8 of us, 2 commando squads working together as a single unit. Schmidt and Lange were combat deckers. Wolf was our rigger and combat engineer. Fisher handled demolitions, Braun was a medic, and the rest of us, Metzger and Kroger and myself, were weapons experts. Our mission was extraterritorial, technically illegal, but important enough to justify the risk. We've been sent across the border into Poland. The Russian mafia has set up a cottage industry in human trafficking all along the Oder-Neisse line, and it was our job to disrupt it. Security, that sounds more like a police action than a military operation. Wouldn't the GSG usually handle this kind of thing? No, because they're in enemy territory. You don't police someone else's territory, you police your own territory. You use your military in other... Alright, go on. We were a good team, experienced. We went through a lot together, and we chalked up a lot of kills. In our own way, I like to think that we did some good. Who was in command? Metzger, best leader I've ever had the pleasure of serving under. Her face clouds. He was a hell of a man. Oh, did he die? Well, you know, the best leader you've ever served under, he died too. Iga, it's not just inexperience that kills. But he went down with the rest of the team, everyone but me. She's got issues. She's got so many issues. She's trying to find reasons for why her team died. Right, she thinks it's discipline, she thinks it's respect, she thinks it's all these things. It's not, right? She's just bad luck, Iga. What happened to the team? She shakes her head. No, that's one story I won't be telling. They died. That's all you need to know. She has issues, man. So was there something else you want to talk about? Or can I get back to cleaning my rifle? Alright, no more questions. She turns back to the disassembled components of her rifle. Sure thing, fearless leader. Good talk. Oh man, she's trying real hard. She's overcompensating, right? Like something bad happens, and now she's trying way too hard to make sure the same bad thing doesn't happen again. But it keeps happening regardless, because that's the line of work she's in, right? Like the fact that Monica died is like, you know, and it's like it's just putting her in the same trauma again. It's like, oh no, another one died. What went wrong this time? What else do I need to do to make sure nothing wrong happens again next time? So it's just more and more and more and more stuff that she's piling on to try to make bad things not happen. But the line of work she's in is that either she kills people or people kill her, right? She uses a gun to make a living. And it's like... Yeah, no. Also, the way she describes the military is not how the military actually is.